And you can see I've got my mandrel that I showed you in the lathe. It's set up in the super indexer. And I've already got my indexer dialed in, you know, it's set true. I don't think I need to show that. I think a lot of guys already know how to do that, but what I do for a quick reference on something like this, especially when I'm doing it perpendicular to the table, just take a speed square. I'll put it down there, and then I'll take my machine surface on the back, just mate right to it. I think you can see that, yeah. And you know, I'll put the toe clamps on and stuff like that and tighten it down, and then I'll dial it in if I have to. So, but that's a good, quick, easy way to do it. And then, like I said, I'll dial it in on the back when I need to. So anyway, we've got our mandrel in here. We've got our turned blank that we've already done and we've showed. Now what we need to do is get started on milling the ports. Like I said in the description, I do a tank brake. That's what I call it. That's what it looks like to me. What we need to do, though, first is measure and see where we're going to get our first port at. That's real important because the first port, in my opinion, is the most important one. That's where all the gases at first are going to be. So you don't want, I don't know if that's coming in pretty good, you don't want any obstructions in the first port. You want those gases to come out of the rifle and out of that first port as much as possible. So what we're going to do here is we just take our machinist scale and we measure, and we're about 600 thousandths. So I'm just I'll do it right here. I'll just put my scale on there and just make a mark at 600 thousandths. Okay, that tells me approximately where it's going to touch off at in there. I'm going to screw this on. I'll make it all the way around. Alright. We've got that on there, and we've got our mandrel. It's tight in the chuck. Remember, this diameter is about 50 thousandths over, and we're actually going to cut this short. This isn't going to be this long. So all I do is I just take a pair of channel locks. Get that on there and get it set tight. It's not going to mill off. Sometimes I've heard guys where they start to mill and they don't got this on there tight, and the blank will start to rotate on them. So you just take some channel locks, you know, tighten that thing on there, and be done with it. Then what I like to do is I'll take another mark, and I'll get it fairly close right here, so that if I have to line this back up, you know, that gives me a good reference mark. I'll leave the mandrel inside the chuck. So now, since we've got our mark right here, we're pretty much going to start the first port right in there. So what I'm going to do is I need to center this up with the mill. And another quick way to do that is to use one of these. I think it's made by PEC Tools. PEC USA, yeah. So I just put it in the mill. Tighten it down. I'll use a ratchet wrench again. Tighten that up. I'll put this in neutral. And I'll just bring it down. And there's two lines on here. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to try to get in a little bit closer. I don't know if it's going to focus or not. Anyway, there's two lines right here that line up. All you got to do is move the table back and forth until those line up. Sorry about the wobble camera. That's about it right there. So I'm going to set the camera back. And double check it. Alright. So I'll set my DRO to 0. And now we're centered to the outside diameter. And don't forget, this has been turned true to the threads and everything that was done in there, because this is all true to itself. These threads are true to these and so on. So anyway, take that out. I'm going to move over A lot of times I just make them with a 1/4 inch port, and especially for the larger rifles. Like I said, this is going to go on a 45 caliber smokeless muzzle loader eventually, and 1/4 inch seems to work out really well. So call it just a 1/4 inch end mill, carbide end mill. We're going to come back. Get a start. Alright. Of course, this is a guesstimate right here as far as exactly where it is on the inside. But this line gives me a good reference. This lets me know that this is where I need to start. There's not going to be any obstructions on the first port for when the gases first come out. So I go right there and I set the DRO again at 0. Zero that out. Now I've locked the table, so I can't go back and forth anymore. Alright, normally, in between each port, I do 3 ports. I'll just mark it off just to be. I usually do 3 ports. And after the first port, I'll move over 350 thousandths. After the second one, I'll move over again 350 thousandths, for a total of 700 thousandths. And this is on the top. I've got my indexer set at 0. I've also got it marked because it sucks trying to remember this every time. I've got it marked on which degree where I put my ports at. So right now the plate that I've got set in here, every 15 degrees, this will stop and lock. I can move it up. I'll just set it back to 0. That's about it. What we're going to do is I do 1 port at a time, meaning, of course, there's one that's top dead center, and then my ports are also on the side. So I finish this port, then I move over to the next one. I do my top dead center, and get this second port done. It should be ports, plural. Get done with that, move over and do the last port, the third port. So let me go turn the power on real quick, a 3-phase, and we'll get going. Alright, got the power on. We've got things marked out. I've got things written down so I don't forget. Like I said, it's a 1/4 inch carbide end mill. And bring the table up. Also got to make sure that I don't hit the indexer with the quill. And I think I'm going to be alright. Yeah, it gives me enough room. Try not to get my arm in the way. Move that a little bit. Alright, we'll turn this on. We're in high speed. I'm spinning right at about 1800 RPM. It seems to work out real. Oh, safety box. I can't believe I forgot my safety glasses. Alright, so the first one. Alright, we're through. Like I said, that's the top dead one. I've got this marked out. It doesn't matter which one I start on. So I'm going to move over to 285. Because my CNC, look at that. This is the top. This is the top portion of the side port. Put some oil on that. And we're through. And my last one's 240. So what I like to do, here comes the CNC again. Alright. Alright, now I've noticed that when I'm building these, you know, I used to just come up and plunge into the third one. It's actually the fourth, the second and third one. But it wouldn't come out as nice as I wanted it to, as far as there'd be some ripples in the sides of it from the mill. So literally, I get it in there and lock the quill. And just do this by hand. Just mill it out. Let it stop. Come out. Alright. One side. Alright. There's your top dead center 0. We're going to go to 120. Actually, we're going to go to 75. 75 is the first mark that comes from 0. That 0 should actually be up here. Same thing. Plunge down in there. Now don't forget, this isn't finished product. We're pretty much roughing it out more than anything. Alright, 75, now we're going to go to 120. That's the bottom end of the port. Alright, we're through. I like to come from the top down. Alright, we'll get in there. Set the quill lock. Here comes the noise. We've got the first port pretty much roughed in. Alright? We don't have to go to top dead center every time. And we can literally, it's kind of a waste of time. I won't say a waste of time, but we're already here. We're set at, doggone it. We're set at 120 degrees. So we'll just come up. Now we'll move the table over. Just 350 thousandths from the first port. Alright, there we go. Alright, just plunge cut. And we're through. Come up to our 75-degree angle. About dead center. Second fork's done. Move over another 350, which is 700 thousandths. I had to restart the camera. I was running out of time. Let's get going again. 700 thousandths. Last fork. Far. I gotta look at that. All screwed up. Alright, what I do next is I get this set up. I get the indexer set up. We're top dead center now. So what I do is I get this set on each side so that we're 90 degrees from top dead center. But I tell you what, I don't know how many times I'm going to drop that. Alright, so 90 degrees from here is 270. Alright, when we're at 270, and remember, we've locked this so it wouldn't go back and forth this way. What I like to do next is I'll unlock it, and I'll move the table forward 75 thousandths. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back to a negative 75. I'll plunge cut that. I'll come forward. I'll show you what that does when we're all done. Okay, we're at 90 degrees. I'll move the I'll move the table back. 75. Plunge in there. Come forward. I get 75. Move over to the second port, which is 350. Again. Move the table in. $75. Oops. Yep, drop it again. Alright, we're back to the first port, which is 0. Which is our 90 degrees. To 100. Alright, we're done with our porting, and I'm going to have to get some close-ups and some actual pictures, and I'll show you what that does on the inside. It makes it a cleaner surface, a flat, and I'll just have to show that to you with pictures or something. Alright, normally what I do now is I'll chamfer all three of these top ports and the side ports as well, but I don't have the barrel ready to install this. So what I'll probably end up doing is I'll take this off. I'll leave the mandrel inside the indexer because I've got my index marked right here, just a reference. And I'll put this back on and I'll center everything back up. And after I get that turned, this turned to diameter with the barrel, I'll put it back on here and chamfer everything out and do one final pass on that. So I'll probably have to make a video on that, installing this muzzle brake, once I get that barrel and get it ready to go. So for right now, there's the ports. I'll try to get some better close-up video and also some still pictures.